It's time for the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable, and it's time to check out Plurilock. And here I am in the basement. Didn't pay my rent last month. I got bumped down. Now the boss is upstairs. Keep it down. It's Chris Perry up there. Vishal, the chart attack man, is in the opposite corner, and our pal TK Indochina down here with me in the low rent district. Plurilock, Chris Perry, PLUR on the TSX Venture Exchange. This stuff is super cool, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, this has been a big Equity.Guru win. If you got in on this when we first started talking about it, what was it, 6 months ago, almost a year ago, you've had a nice, long, consistent ride. I think we've got in here at about 28 cents. It's up to 64 now. There's been a few ups and downs along the way, but the thing that I really love about Plurilock, other than the technology, which I think is great, is its news flow. This is a company that if the CEO was being paid by the news release, he'd be making a fortune. And all these news releases come in the same format. Plurilock receives amount of money, order from government agency. It's just repetitive, one after another after another. And if I'm just looking at the last 10, 250K from one, 219 from another, 394,000 from another, 418 from another, 185,000 from the US Treasury, 208,000 from the US Navy. So this is a company that has a lot of partnerships, a lot of vendors, agreements, and most importantly, has made it through the gauntlet that is getting approved to supply software to the US military and US government agencies. That is a thing that can take companies 15 years. You have to jump through a crazy amount of hoops, and Plurilock has done it. What they actually sell, in a nutshell, their software uses artificial intelligence to monitor employees as they do their work. So one of the biggest problems with security is you log into your computer, you do your work, you go to get a cup of coffee, someone sits down at your computer and downloads the entire, US Treasury database. Now, what Plurilock does is it constantly monitors you. It doesn't ask for passwords, which can be easily cracked, or require your eyeball to be pressed up against the screen so somebody can rip it out and then pretend to be you. What they do is they monitor your typing flow, right? So as you're doing your stuff away, the number of tabs that you have open, the things that you're looking at on the internet, the way you type, it has a pattern to it that is as unique as a fingerprint. And so they put these and a whole bunch of other little metrics together to basically say, hey, Vishal over there seems to be having a bad day. If it's him, maybe go tap him on the shoulder and say, "You all right, buddy? You okay?" And if it's not him, then call in the armed guards. So this is a new way of looking at computer security that is not based out of 1960s, 1970s tech, which I think we've all been waiting for a while. I'm sick and tired of having to change my goddamn password. I'd love it if my computer would just be like, "Yep, he accidentally hit S instead of A again. That's Parry."
Yeah, exactly. And if you're always looking over at the person in the next cubicle, can they pick up on that too? If you're checking out the person.
Well, I mean, I'm at the next cubicle. What's happening?
What if she gets fired?
We need to talk.
TK, going deep?
Yeah, I actually pulled up some of the numbers from the last 3 years, and it's pretty interesting what's happened here. So from 2018 to 2020, their revenue went down by 10% in that period. So from $650,000 in sales to about $480,000 in 2020. But the magical thing is, in March of this year, they had $80,000 of sales in that 3-month period. And then in June, they booked $8.6 million in sales in the 3-month period ending in June. So that means in the 6 months ending June, from hardware sales, they made $7.5 million, of which they had zero in 2020 in the same period. From electric software licensing, they had $805,000. And in 2020, they had $163,000. And from their professional services, They made 19,000 last year in the 6 months ended June, and close to $290,000 this June 2021. And the management attributes this mostly to the fact that most of their customers are large on scale. So it's a B2B most of the time. So they go through large enterprises and government customers. So their sales can be seasonal and cyclical and can kind of be unpredictable because you never know how they structure their contracts and when sales are booked for them. So it kind of has that variability when it comes to booking their sales. But the thing that I saw that I didn't like was the amount of debt they had on their books is the only thing they had. But they do have close to $5 million in cash that's probably ready to be deployed into something else. And that's always a good catalyst for a company in its space. So I think that's where they are right now.
The king of the chart attack is about to give us one. Michelle?
Thanks, Rob. So Plurilock, this is one where there's an uptrend in the chart. I can't really give you major patterns and all that kind of stuff. I think the chart sort of speaks for itself, but I like this stock because of the sector that it's in. I mean, cybersecurity, it's big, right? We know it's going to be a huge sector going forward. In their PowerPoint, they talk about it as a $1 trillion opportunity, and they give the example of Plurilock empowering customers to defend against attacks like the Colonial Pipeline, and I'm sure you guys remember that. It's been maybe a month ago when those pipelines were hacked, and there was a slowdown in gas transfers to Florida and stuff, southwest that part there of the states. And they mentioned that this is going to happen. There's going to be more cyber hacks and hacking in the future, and probably people holding things ransom for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. But yeah, it's a great sector. I think it's just going to grow. As Chris mentioned, the deals that they're getting, and I show you guys the news flow. You see all the numbers here from the government contracts. Me, as a guy that's interested in macro and trading, I'm actually interested in the U.S. Department of the Treasury deal. So I'm going to read a bit more into that. But good news, and chart-wise, we are in a nice uptrend. I think that break above 55 cents was quite big here. I've just drawn a downwards trend line here. Just saying, I'm not saying we're going to bounce off of here and sell off again, but it looks like the stock could be coiling. Maybe we make some sort of triangle pattern, basically just moving up and down until one end breaks, and we hope it's the upside. But if that happens, I think with all the deals and with that technical break, we have enough momentum to take us to 82 cents, previous record highs. And then after there, sky's the limit. We can go to $1 in this $1 trillion market sector opportunity.
Yeah, TK, by the way, what are you doing with your hands down there? Because I just got an alert from Plurilock. They're asking me what's going on below the desk. They're curious as to. Chris, tell us if you're going to tell us. Well, first of all, we got a theme here on recent investor roundtables. It's Equity.Guru success stories in terms of giving folks advice that paid off in the last 6 to 12 months.
Yep.
And this is another one of those. So, but what about now, given the fact that we've already moved up?
Yeah, well, the move hasn't been filthy. The company's still a $34 million company, and I think that market cap is pretty generous to people who want to buy in right now. I will say, TK mentioned debt. As we've experienced with our holdings in Amped Technologies, sometimes when a tech company gets a big hardware deal, they got to pay for it up front, right? They don't get paid for the equipment until it's delivered. So going out there, getting some debt, making sure that you're going to get more back for it is pretty savvy business. So I haven't looked into it to see whether that's happening, but I imagine with that big amount of hardware that they sold, that there'd be an element of that to it. I just love this company. I've talked to the CEO a number of times, and every time it ends the same way with me saying, man, you've just nailed it. You've just knocked it out of the park. Everything you said was going to happen has happened quicker than you said it was going to happen. Plurilock is one of those companies that I'd be happy dropping money into and just leaving it there, because I don't think it's going away. the likely exit will be someone coming along as a big client and saying, you know, it'd be cheaper for us to just buy these guys out than to continually send them money. The other thing I will mention is once you're in on these government deals, you're never out of these government deals. They pay their bills on time, and it becomes really complicated to untie yourself from these processes, right? It goes through a lot to get their people trained, to get you into the system. And if they pull the trigger and say, yeah, we're sending you money on a monthly basis, that's you for a while. You've got to really screw that deal up in order to get unplugged. So anyone who's doing municipal deals, anyone who's doing federal government deals, government agencies, that's a lot easier to get your money than it is from, say, TK.
So how much my 5K are you going to spend right now?
Man, I'm not the guy who jumps in with 5K every time, but you know, I'd put a solid 3 into this and just watch it do its work. You know, Canadian tech can be finicky on the investor side. In the US, it just grows and grows and grows until it's ridiculous and you can't justify the market cap. In Canada, it still takes a little time. So Plurilock is still getting to that place of people trusting that it's going to be there for a while and that we're not spending money on foosball tables and, you know, purple walls. But, you know, the runs are on the board. This is a real company. I would gladly put more of my money into it than I've already got, and may well do that in the next few days. I'd be buying on dips if dips exist.
DK, what are you doing with my cash?
It kind of goes with what Chris is saying about their ability to raise cash. So far, they've been able to get close to 7.5 million in the last 12 months, and they have 4.6 million in purchase orders. That'll be the services they need to render in the near term. I think it's until the end of the year. So yeah, it's a company that obviously has an addressable market that's large, and most of the revenues will be stable with the customer base that's also stable as well, that pays their bills. So you're not too worried about them missing their payments. It's probably why they've done so well so far. So I think I'd put half of your pot.
All right. We're in the same ballpark, Michelle. What about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, you know, I like the cybersecurity sector. I like the fact that they're getting a lot of government contracts, probably not going to end. We're probably going to see more good news coming down the pipeline. And the stock itself is in interim uptrend right here. I believe last time we were looking at it, guys, I think we were like around here below 55 cents, and we did get that breakout. Came back to retest it. Buyers step back in. That's usually a very good sign. You want to see buyers step in after a retest of a breakout. So I would do the same thing. I would be putting half my money in, and I think you ride this, given the sector strength and good news coming down the pipeline.
So
I want to add one more thing just before we break away, but this is just Plurilock's phase 1, right? Where they're doing business with government agencies. Business to business is a massive market that they haven't even really pushed in on yet. And then beyond that, business to consumer, if they could put a consumer version of their computer security tech together, now you're looking at like insane numbers. Yeah. In order to get there, I think what they're doing is they're doing the government work to show that they're trustworthy and get them to a place where they can raise the money they need to build a much bigger sales force. So I'm prognosticating here. I'm looking into the crystal ball, but I think it's all good things for Plurilock.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, Michelle. And thank you very much, TK. There you have it. It's Plurilock. We're back about a month ago. We reviewed them, and everybody loves them. Everybody loves Plurilock. However, you folks out there have to do your own research, do your own investing. We cannot guarantee that this advice will lead you anywhere. It is what it is.
Although it has so far.
It's done pretty damn well.
Pretty good, yeah.
But do your own research, folks. That's all we got to tell you. It's all up to you. And we'll see you next time. It's, by the way, it's PLUR under Ian Patterson, our friendly CEO, and it's on the TSX Venture Exchange. See you next time on the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.